Welcome to the journey of a Navy medic. I'm Dave Lassam, and today's episode is a deep dive into something that has not only saved countless lives, but has transformed how we care for our own. This is the story of military medicine in the Royal Australian Navy, how it started, how it changed, and how those changes shaped people like me, and possibly saved your life too. Over my 39-year career in the Navy, I witnessed medical practice evolve dramatically, from handwritten logbooks and basic surgical tools to cutting-edge trauma response systems and international humanitarian deployments backed by mobile labs and digital diagnostics. But these advancements didn't happen overnight. They were forged through war, disaster, necessity, and most importantly, people who dared to innovate. When I joined the Navy in 1978, medicine in the RAN was already shifting, but still held on to its traditional roots. Medics were expected to be jacks of all trades. We administered vaccines, stitched up gashes, diagnosed tropical diseases, and treated sailors with everything from heat stroke to psychological distress, all often without a doctor nearby. Much of what we had in those early years was basic. Field kits, manual records, ECGs that looked like something out of a Cold War lab. And yet we made it. Because we had to. You adapt when you're on a ship in the middle of the ocean and a life depends on it. But by the time I left in 2016, the field had transformed. One of the biggest changes I witnessed was in trauma care and emergency response. Field hospitals became more sophisticated. Aeromedical evacuation procedures were streamlined. Our medics were being trained to international standards, not just in basic first aid, but in battlefield triage, psychological first response, even surgical prep and telemedicine. I remember being part of joint exercises with the United States Navy and seeing how much we could learn from each other. Those deployments, especially our humanitarian missions to the Indian Ocean and South Pacific, forced us to adapt quickly. We had to understand local disease profiles, work with limited infrastructure, and set up complete medical operations under tents in less than 48 hours. Today, Navy medics are not just responders, they're strategists, coordinators, and healers. But there was one area that took a bit longer to evolve, and that was mental health. When I first joined, we didn't talk about PTSD or post-traumatic stress disorder. If someone broke down emotionally, it was toughen up, get on with it. I know that culture because I lived in it, and eventually I paid the price. It wasn't until years later, after multiple deployments and traumatic events, that I was diagnosed with PTSD. And even then, admitting it felt like failure. But I'm proud to say the Navy learned. Today we have trained mental health officers on board. We have counselling support. And we talk about resilience, not just as a buzzword, but as a survival skill. That shift didn't just help me. It's helping the next generation of sailors to know you're not weak for needing help. You're smart for asking. Military medicine doesn't stay in the military. Many of the advances we made, especially in trauma care, are now saving lives in civilian hospitals. Tourniquets, triage systems, portable surgical tools, post-disaster medical coordination, even protocols for mass casualty events like bushfires and floods. Many came from military application. And Navy medics? They often transition into emergency departments, paramedic roles, or public health administration. I've seen my colleagues go on to shape health systems in the cities and rural areas they once protected in uniform. So what does the future of military medicine look like? More tech? Sure. Wearable health monitors, remote diagnostics, AI in battlefield triage. But I hope we never lose sight of the human element. At the heart of every medical innovation is someone holding someone else's hand. A medic kneeling in the mud to stop bleeding. A sailor staying up all night to comfort a patient. That never goes out of date. And if my 39 years taught me anything, it's that medicine in the Navy isn't just about science, it's about service. It's about knowing your patient might be your mate, and that you're all in the same boat, literally. Thanks for joining me on this look back and look forward at military medicine in the Royal Australian Navy. Whether you're a healthcare worker, a veteran, or someone who's just curious about the world behind the headlines, I hope you take away one thing. Progress doesn't just come from invention. It comes from people who care enough to do better. Coming up next on the Journey of a Navy Medic, we'll dive into what life is really like on deployment, the realities of serving at sea. I'm Dave Lassam, and you've been listening to the Journey of a Navy Medic. Until next time, stay strong, stay informed, and remember, every life saved starts with someone willing to learn how.